Hey everyone, I'm going to make a quick video about social justice warrior. No, I'm not talking about the people, I'm more talking about the noun. Because recently it's been added into the Oxford Dictionary. And let's just take a look at that definition. And as we can see here, and this is the Oxford Dictionary, and it says, a person who expresses or promotes socially progressive views. These social justice warriors want to apply their politically correct standards and rules to others' speech. Now, I find that to be a woefully inadequate definition, because that's not really the whole story, is it? It makes them seem like a whole lot more positive than they actually are. Now, I'm going to take a few sources here and show you definitions that are much more broad and, in my eyes and in my opinion, express what they are all about and what they truly are. So this is from the conservative think tank. I know, conservative think tank, but it's a good definition and credit where credit's due. Alright? The Heritage Foundation. This is their description of neo-progressivism and which is what these social justice warriors really espouse. And this is what they say. Beginning in the 1950s, a more radical form of liberalism emerged in the academy that sowed the seeds for the sexual revolution and multiculturalism. Neo-progressivism mobilised the new left of the 1960s, transformed American politics, and continues to dominate the cultural and political conversation today. It combines what neo-progressives call personal politics, the idea that American citizens have a right to all forms of self-expression, although by my standards, it's pretty much everyone, isn't it, in the world. It happens over here too. And cultural politics, the idea that cultural groups are entitled to special status, together as the twin pillars of a new identity politics. As a result, citizens today have more, not less, freedom from government in the realm of sexual expression, and the American electorate has been fractured into various groups. Now, to me, that is exactly what they espouse. And the problem is, it doesn't seem to be going in the way that the Oxford Dictionary seems to think that it does. Because you'd think this must be socially progressive, mustn't you? Well, sadly it's not. Because this implies, based on this definition, that these people are very close to the progressives that were around at the turn of the century when Theodore Roosevelt ran for president under the Bull Moose Party, which they are completely nothing alike at all. And this is where the Heritage Foundation's definition comes into play, because these are not progressives, these are neo-progressives. They espouse neo-progressive politics. The reason why we call them social justice warriors is not because that they necessarily espouse neo-progressive bullshit, but that they are middle to upper class people who spend their time on Twitter arguing with people about, oh, that's offensive, you can't do that, that's offensive, oh, this group of people is now oppressed, this group of people is not oppressed because of this, that or the other. And they don't tend to do an awful lot about this. They tend to do nothing but cause trouble. They tend to formulate into groups of echo chambers and hug boxes, and are called out by the more intelligent neo-progressives, who aren't necessarily social justice warriors, but actual progressives with a real agenda, who will use these social justice warriors to basically sick them onto other people who tend to disagree with them. For an example, Stephanie Guthrie and Gregory Alan Elliott, which, as you know, is the story of a man who was arrested simply for disagreeing with a feminist, Stephanie Guthrie. So basically, this definition fails to even put that into its definition. It's just one definition. And it's no better than the feminist definition, which says that they apparently believe in the social and economic equality of the sexes, when, as we've seen through the actions of this group, that they are anything but that. Just like how the social justice warriors don't actually show real progressive thoughts, they actually are very regressive. They want segregation, both racial and sexual. What do you think cultural appropriation is? They want to police language and thought, which we'll be getting into in a bit, which is political correctness. And let's not forget that they do espouse quite ignorant and racist beliefs, mainly towards white people, but also other people who happen to disagree with them, especially mixed race people. If you've not seen the Marinashutup video about white passing privilege, I suggest you look that up to see what I'm looking for. I will put a link to the description. So now that we've got all that out of the way, let's take a look at political correctness. Now I think this is the real bedrock, and this is what the Oxford Dictionary definition fails to put into consideration. Political correctness is, well, let's just say, perhaps one of the worst things to ever be invented by these people. It probably started off with good intentions, as do many things, but it has since become a way of control. But first, let's just look at the best definition that I can find. And I found two that are quite interesting. This is Oxford's very own definition of political correctness. And they say the avoidance of forms of expression or action that are perceived to exclude, marginalise or insult groups of people who are socially disadvantaged or discriminated against. For example, women like him for his civil rights stand and political correctness. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. This is what they think political correctness is really about. They think it is the avoidance of forms of expressions that are perceived. This is the thing, they are perceived to exclude or marginalise or insult people. Now, it's basically all down to context, that nasty C word that they don't like. And that's I think what I like about this definition is that it does say it is perceived. It is not actual factual things that can exclude people. It's what they see in their heads. And as we've seen time and time again, it is often from their perceived view of the world, which might not even be the reality of the situation. Now, the next definition is by Collins, and they say politically correct or political correctness is demonstrating progressive ideals, especially by avoiding vocabulary that is considered offensive, discriminatory or judgmental, especially concerning race and gender. Now, they're correct that it is especially concerning race and gender, but it's also to do with disability, your age, take your pick, anything really. And I think I like that it does say that this is demonstrating progressive ideals. This is neo-progressive ideals. These people haven't, quite got the difference between Teddy Roosevelt and Stephanie Guthrie yet, have they? So this is what should have been put into this definition, and let it be known now, people, these social justice warriors will be using this dictionary definition in their arguments, just like the feminists do. Say, look, this is what we stand for. We are not regressive. We stand for progressive views. This is what the dictionary says. When we know full well, we know full well what these people stand for just by their actions. Their actions suggest otherwise. So really, the definition would be a person who espouses neo-progressive views, not to be confused with the progressive politics of the turn of the century, and who are for political correctness. They are for censorship. They believe in social privilege and segregation. But that's my opinion. But what is yours? This has been CharmingMan93. Like and share the video, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you all later. Now, as an addendum, this has been a very rushed project as things have been mounting up recently in social justice land. So I might return to this subject in the near future. So until then, thank you for the views, and this is just a quick addendum.